Ow. Ow.
He's trying to pay the Uber with cash. That's definitely him.
Attention all passengers in the baggage claim area.
Alright, picture this. It's March 2nd, 2021, smack in the middle of the COVID madness. We're diving into the story of this young gal named Margot, who's teaming up with her camera whiz buddy, Chris. They're on a mission to create this documentary, and here's the scoop. It's all about Margot's quest to uncover her past, including her bio mom, who gave her the boot when she was just a baby.
Yeah, it's Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Now, there's this dude named Sam, who's a distant relative of Margot's, and he's swooping in to help unravel Margot's true identity. Sam, he's part of this group called the Amos, which is like this super old school Christian gang that's all about shunning modern stuff like TVs, gadgets, and all that jazz.
Thank you.
Turns out, Margot's birth mom was like the holiest of holies in the Amos crew, but who knows why she ditched Margot as a baby. So, Margot's off to this remote Amos community, far away from the city, on a quest to find out her real story, all with Sam, who's not just a distant relative but a bona fide Amos community member himself, as her trusty sidekick.
You know, where I come from would be really special for me.
Back at Margot's home, she busts out some old hospital CCTV footage she managed to get her hands on. This footage is from years ago when Margot was just a baby. In it, her birth mom pulls this super cold move, leaving baby Margot right at the doorstep and making a run for it, looking all scared and stuff.
I can't believe anyone would just abandon their baby like that.
Cut to the chase, the three of them hop in their ride and head to the secret hideout of the Amos community. Margot's not just bringing Chris, the cameraman, along for the ride, but also this sound guru named Dell, who's got to wear a mask to keep the COVID vibes at bay.
It's my signature shot.
That's.
Hey.
Are you Dale?
Yeah,
Margo.
What's going through your head?
Oh yeah, weather changes every day.
After a crazy 14-hour road trip to this remote spot, they finally roll up to the Amos community leader's crib. Sam tries to get permission from the big boss to crash there, but here's the kicker. The Amos are hardcore against modern stuff like cameras, drones, and all that jazz. So, the big shot says no way and tells them to bounce from the spot.
That doesn't look great.
Totally. After coming all the way from the city, Margot and her crew had to face a major bummer. The community elder guy straight up denied him a place to crash. So, the four of them decided to turn around and hit up the nearest small town hotel and chill until they could head back home the next day.
So you didn't think to call ahead and... Oh no.
Around midnight, they heard this weird sound coming from the bathroom. Margot and the cameraman decided to check it out, but of course, there was nada going on. Just when Margot was about to close the window, out of the blue, yeah, turns out it was the elder guy's grandkid who happened to sneak into town all the time. So, they all rushed to the elder guy's place to return the kid to their fam.
Sorry.
Unexpected twist, Margot came back with some good news. The elder guy was super grateful that they brought the kiddo back safe and sound. As a thank you gesture, he gave them the green light to stay for a few days and even allowed them to use their camera gear to document the daily life of the Amos community.
Dale, you don't fit on the bed.
Oh yeah.
At midnight, the cameraman got woken up by Margot, who saw some torchlights heading into the woods. Those lights just suddenly vanished into thin air, leaving him both kinda curious and full of questions. The next morning, right during breakfast, Margot finally spilled the beans about those lights she saw the night before. She said it was just some hunting crew tracking down wild animals that had killed one of their livestock.
We get bears. I'll be with you, but they get...
So, Sam invited Margot and the gang to check out the community's livestock farm, which is like the main source of income for the folks here. Margot almost became minced meat herself, almost falling into a pit. After covering the farm, Margot went over to chat with some village flower girls who were drying clothes, to ask about her mom. One of the girls spilled the tea, saying that Margot's mom broke the Amos community's rules by getting involved with a dude from outside the community. Rumor has it she got pregnant out of wedlock. Out of sheer shame, she ditched baby Margot in front of the hospital. Who knows if it's true, but when Margot pressed them for more info, like where her mom is now or if she's alive or not, the girls clammed up and ghosted.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That night, they threw a welcome back dinner for Margot, celebrating her return to her roots. This dinner was kinda unique because right in the middle of it, just when everyone was digging in, a bunch of little kids started singing. Everyone had to stop, watch, and respond to the song by banging on the tables. It totally made Margot and her crew pretty stoked. After they finished dinner, they needed some electricity to charge up the camera batteries and other electronic gear, except for their phones. Why not the phones? Well, because there was zero signal in this place, so phones were pretty much useless except for taking pics and playing Tetris. Since there was no electricity around, they used a small generator placed far enough from the house to keep it quiet. So, the cameraman had to step out and fire up the generator to keep their reporting gear running smoothly. Yeah, they got a little spooked when they found out that one of the local kids actually had a condition where they sleepwalk and sing like that. It's like a regular thing here, so the elders advised the cameraman not to freak out or be scared because in this place, ghosts have zero guts to show themselves.
Cold will bite you.
The next morning, Dell, the sound guru, seemed to be loving life in this place. You could tell by how he was all cheerful and genuinely having a blast entertaining the kids with urban-style dances and jokes. Same goes for the cameraman, who was maxing out the cool features on his camera to capture stuff in slow-mo.
Yes, still!
See, that slow motion is getting like...
Margot herself was seen with a little kid who was brushing her doll's hair. Out of nowhere, the little girl blurted out that Margot's mom was still around in this place. That got Margot even more curious about what the elders and the Amos community folks were really hiding.
Wait,
One night, Margot woke up all alone because she'd been hearing this weird noise from the attic for 3 nights straight. The noise always popped up in the same place and at the same time. So, Margot decided to check it out solo, armed with just her infrared camera. When she got up to the attic, it was this empty room, and Margot found this creepy doll just chilling on the bed. There was also a piece of paper with something written on it by her mom, Sarah. It had this cryptic ending talking about some freaky cult or spooky secret group. Before she could finish reading it, Margot was totally startled by a noise from outside. It turned out to be the voice of the elder guy, so Margot had to quickly hide under the bed. Once the elder guy left, Margot, who was about to leave herself, got trapped in the room. The old guy had locked the door from the outside. With no other choice, Margot had to make her exit through the window. Just when she was doing that, out of the blue, the next morning, Margot showed what she'd seen to Dell and the cameraman. But since the sighting was kinda blurry and seemed pretty ordinary, like a camera glitch, the 3 of them decided not to dwell on it and just moved on.
A lens distortion.
a lens distortion?
On the 5th day, they asked for permission to interview the elder guy to get some info about Sarah, Margot's mom. They were all pretty shocked when they found out that Sarah was the elder guy's own daughter, which meant Margot was his grandchild.
Sarah was our wildflower.
The whole situation started off pretty complicated. Basically, Margot's mom, Sarah, was super religious until this city guy showed up in the village. Sarah got smitten, and they started this secret fling, which eventually led to Sarah getting pregnant out of wedlock. That was a big no-no in this Amos Christian community. The elders and everyone else agreed to shun Sarah so she'd have to live alone. Meanwhile, they planned to give her baby, Margot, to a married couple in the community. But Sarah couldn't accept that, so she took baby Margot to the city and ditched her somewhere, just because she really didn't want Margot growing up with the folks in this community.
She was shunned.
In the daytime, the cameraman was seen flying his drone to check out the area around the village. They accidentally stumbled upon a church hidden behind the woods. Curiosity got the best of them, so the 3 of them hurried over to the church to find out what was going on there.
How far away?
I would do like a spaghetti with meatballs right now.
Gotta be where they were going the other night.
Sweet.
Just as Margot and her crew arrived, the elder guy showed up and strictly forbid him from entering the small church, camera in hand or not. He made it clear that this church was the only place for the Amos community to worship, so nobody except the Amos descendants were allowed inside.
A schnitzel thing or a sausage? Is that a...
Later that night, Margot was awakened again by a sound, this time from outside the house. With the cameraman in tow, Margot went to investigate the source of the sound, which was coming from inside the livestock farm. With the lights reddish, Margot and the cameraman hid on the top floor of the farm, where they both witnessed a terrifying moment when the elder picked up a baby two-headed goat, which was slaughtered right away, and carried its blood and body to the small church behind the forest. The next morning, Margot told Sam about what she had seen the previous night, hoping for a reasonable explanation about why that goat sacrifice ritual had to happen. But instead, Sam warned Margot not to meddle in the community's affairs and not to make Sam regret helping her.
Don't make me regret it.
It seems like Sam spilled the beans to the elder and all the community members. So, when they went off to work, Sam was intentionally left behind to keep an eye on the three of them. Eventually, a plan was needed to divert Sam's attention, and that involved getting him busy with Dell, who pretended to be learning how to ride a horse. After successfully keeping Sam occupied, Margot and the cameraman immediately went to the church. There, they found some unusual stuff in the church, like dance ropes with body harnesses and some creepy drawings on the floor, one of which had a name written on it, Asmodius, whoever that was.
Asmodius.
Surprisingly, there was a hole right under the pulpit, and it seemed like the dance ropes and harnesses were used to lower someone down there. So, driven by curiosity, Margot daringly went down there alone with the cameraman ready to extend the rope from above.
Alright, cool.
Today is March 14th, the last day of their stay. They were supposed to go home today, but because the car had a battery problem, Margot and her friends had to postpone their departure.
There's something down there.
While everyone was busy pushing the car, Margot, who was alone in the house, secretly took the key belonging to the elder to enter Sam's room. But Margot was in for a shock when she found a set of laptops complete with an internet modem. The contents of the laptop were conversations between Sam and the elder, discussing the plan for Sam to bring Margot to this place. It turns out Margot's arrival here had been meticulously planned. Sam intentionally came to the city and pretended to help Margot with her documentary, but it was all part of the plan to bring Margot to this place.
They were watching me. They clearly brought us here for a reason.
Long story short, the night fell, and Margot woke up again in the middle of the night because of a sound that emerged. This time, the sound was coming right from outside their room. Since Dell and the cameraman were fast asleep, like logs, Margot had to face her fear on her own. And suddenly... I don't know what happened to Margot last night, but she instantly turned quiet and seemed like she was possessed. Worried, Dell and the cameraman decided to walk to the nearest town, with the aim of finding a car battery so they could get Margot out of the village as soon as possible.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's a mail truck. Hey!
Luckily, there was a driver willing to take them to the electronics store. Once they arrived, Dell asked the storekeeper for permission to borrow a computer and internet access to look up the name, Asmodius, they had found. Dell was in for a shock when they realized that Asmodius is a demon prince representing human lust, suffering, and anger. Not only that, they stumbled upon an ancient story about a village ravaged by a disease that destroyed crops and livestock, with people turning against each other, similar to a possession phenomenon. They believed that this phenomenon was caused by the demon Asmodius. However, a shaman managed to trap Asmodius inside a woman's body. If the woman died, Asmodius would have to transfer to her daughter's body, and if the daughter died, it would pass to her granddaughter, and so on, through all of her descendants. This was done to keep Asmodius trapped in a mortal body because if it ever escaped its host, it could possess anyone, causing chaos on Earth.
Click that right there, the top. Got the last 31C right.
After getting the car battery, both of them rushed back to the farm. Dell would quickly install the battery in the car, while the cameraman would go inside the house to pick up Margot to get her out of the farm.
Hello? It is time to go.
Yeah, Margot wasn't in her room. Instead, Sam was acting super weird, just standing there. Sam suddenly bolted outside, followed by the cameraman, thinking Sam was heading for the church behind the woods.
Dude, where are you going? Sam!
Arriving at the church, the cameraman noticed that the altar had been moved, which meant Margot might have been put down the hole. They were about to go down when an elder threatened to shoot them, but... After accidentally causing the elder to fall down the hole, the cameraman rushed down to rescue Margot. Once inside, Margot was lying there with an old female shaman. And
Back up off.
thankfully, someone arrived just in time to pull Margot up, while the cameraman was left sweating bullets as the creature started chasing him. And suddenly, upon reaching the surface, the three of them bolted, just as the creature managed to climb up. In the midst of the snowy, dark night, Dale became the first victim, and Margot and the cameraman couldn't save her. Margot and the cameraman ran into the cowshed, hoping the creature wouldn't chase them. They were both seriously freaked out, as this was the only safe place they could hide. Yeah, the creature managed to knock out the cameraman, leaving Margot alone, frozen with fear as she stared at the creature. She briefly remembered the hole beneath her, which had a grinding machine, so she quickly took action to trap the creature in the hole. Not long after the creature's demise, the cameraman finally regained consciousness and immediately urged Margot to get into the car. They thought it was all over, but the creature's death actually led to everyone on the farm getting possessed, committing acts of violence and hurting each other. So, Margot and the cameraman hit the gas and managed to escape from that hellish farm. Not long after Margot left, 2 police officers arrived in response to a report. One of the officers went to inspect the cowshed where they found Sam sitting and crying, sounding eerily similar to a baby.
What the fuck? Get your hands up!
Yeah, Sam took control of the car after killing the 2 officers by manipulating their minds to shoot themselves in the head. No one knows what Sam will do next, but right now, the demon Asmodius has taken residence inside their body. As everyone feared, if Asmodius gets loose, chaos will ensue on Earth.
It's been a long time.
The end. Ending Yang sang at Membergonken.
Au, au.
In a nutshell, Margot is the potential new vessel for Asmodius. The elders and all the people on the farm intentionally lured Margot there to keep Asmodius from escaping into the world. The creature chasing them in the ending is actually Sarah, Margot's birth mother, who was deliberately confined in the pit to prevent her from going berserk. When the cameraman went down into the pit, he saw Margot lying with an old female shaman performing some kind of ritual. It was meant to transfer the demon Asmodius from Sarah's body to Margot's. But thanks to the cameraman, the ritual failed, leading to Sarah falling into the grinding machine. With her human body dead, Asmodius was released and could jump from one body to another at will, causing terror, violence, harm, and the ability to manipulate someone's mind to do as he pleased. This is evident from how the 2 police officers shot themselves in the head. So, the only person who can stop all of this is Margot, who might take action again in the next film. Stay tuned. I'm Michael, representing the directorial team, saying thank you and see you in the next video. Paranormal.